practice.
Great. They move it every month, I think. There's changes.
That must be it.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to the August meeting of the Regional Housing Committee. I'm Pat Bands, the interim chair, I guess. Just to let you know, we do expect today, I know everybody's going to be really disappointed, but it should be a fairly short meeting. So anyway, just wanted to say that up front, and we will start with, do you need to do a roll call, Eliza? It sounds like we have a quorum, but do you need to go through it or?
No, I mean, not unless you want me to.
No? Okay, we're good then. All right.
Can I quickly introduce the people that are not on the committee though, so that we can just
Absolutely.
thank you. So first and foremost, our two fabulous summer interns, James Tom and Ella Rogerson, are joining us for the last time.
Oh.
And I want to say hi to Caitlin Palmer from CROG. I see Rebecca Auger from OPM. Who else do I see? Carla Lindquist from Hope, Kara Capone from Mercy Housing, and I think the rest of you are staff or on our committee. Not that you don't want to hello.
I can
Hello,
say
everyone.
All right. Well, welcome members and guests today. We'll jump right into the agenda then. The first item is the approval of minutes from the June 24th meeting. They were attached to the email that Eliza sent last week or the week before, whenever that was. If you hopefully had a chance to look at them. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second? I'll second.
I think I saw
Wait.
David.
Yeah, David Lamb.
Any discussion, edits, comments on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. All right. We have a presentation today and some updates, and probably our interns, this will be one of your swan songs today, maybe. We have a presentation on the Shared Foundations Housing Education Grant.
Yes.
Eliza or Megan, whoever's doing that.
I think I will be kicking us off. We have been very busy. I know it's been a while since we've talked to you all. It feels like forever. We have missed you. We have been working really hard over the summer on putting together our first commissioner training lesson plan. If you recall, when we went through sort of the topics that we were going to be discussing with the commissioners, one of the first things that we wanted to touch on was a focus on your comprehensive vision plan and how that relates to planning for housing. And so that was the focus of our first lesson. And I can show you some of the materials that we've put together, and I'll just run through those. And then I'll have an ask at the end. So if I should be able to share my screen here. So what we wanted to do was create something that can be an online module or a packet that we can come to towns to present. Are you guys seeing my weird Dropbox pop up too? Hang on. There we go. Something that we can come into towns and present and run through with commissions, or something that someone in the town, probably the town planner, could run through with their commissions themselves. So you should all be seeing my Adobe screen with lesson 1, creating the vision plan, right?
Right.
Awesome. So this would be the base document in our lesson plan package. So we have the title at the top. It's about an hour and a half estimated runtime to go through it. we have a list of materials that will be needed to do the exercise with an asterisk next to the ones that we would include as part of the package. For this particular lesson, the objectives are, there are 3. Participants will understand the purpose and process of creating a comprehensive vision plan. Participants will understand the relationship between the vision plan and the zoning regulations. And participants will understand the steps in creating a vision plan, specifically creating goals, linking policies to physical locations, and determining implementation steps. And then we have in the blue boxes activities. So there's a prompt for the activity. Each lesson plan will have a few of these. And then what you do following the prompt. So for example, this one, imagine it's the year 2035 or 10 years into the future from whenever you're doing this exercise. Your city or town just made the cover of a magazine, Best Places to Live. What do you think they're saying about the city or town? What is different or similar to today that makes it such a great place to live? And then you ask volunteers to share, and it's just a thought exercise. We follow with an introduction with a script. So again, either we could do this or whoever takes the lesson plan to run through it could read off the script, do the exercise, followed by a focus activity. This activity, you have the setup at the top with the materials, and then the thing that you're asking the group to do. In this case, you have a column of things that you would like to see stay the same, things that you would like to see expanded or invested in, and things that you would like to get rid of, improve, or alter. And these should all, for our planners and commissioners in the room, start feeling similar to things that you're doing as you're working on your vision plan, but we're going to tie it to the lesson in the presentation. So we follow that up with a presentation. We explain what's in the PowerPoint for the person doing the lesson, and then it's hyperlinked in here. And I will come back to the presentation just for ease of sharing, but we'll run through the presentation, and then we have our final engagement activity in 3 parts, which focuses on running through with your commission how to create goals and objectives, how to take differences in opinion and merge them into a goal or an objective that you can apply to your town, asking them to share, look at similarities and differences. Can these goals and objectives work together or can they not? And then we apply them to the town's zoning map or future land use map if you have one. And, the goal isn't to create a new plan, but the goal is to get the participants thinking through how this process works and thinking through, well, if this is what I think, and this is what you think, and we think the same thing, and this is not the thing that's in our plan right now, should it be? So it's supposed to be a continuing exercise. And then an implementation measures. Once you come to some conclusions, we're looking at trying to get the group to do 3 different goals or objectives, thinking through what implementation of those 3 things would look like. So to keep it simple, focus on what is the next step to get you from what you would like to do, or from where you are to what you would like to do. What is the first next thing you would do? And then you have a closure script, and then you do an assessment at the end. It's a series of questions that is also hyperlinked, that you go through with the group, and that's their takeaway so that they can refer back to it. And then if I can share a different screen on the presentation, if I can find it. Hang on. Please hold. While I'm pulling that up, are there any questions so far? Okay.
I
I
have a
see.
question.
Yeah.
I was, Tricia's, I mean, she's right. They keep moving the buttons. I was looking for a raise hand button. But so the nomenclature, we're saying vision plan, and we did something similar when we were working on our POCD.
Mhm.
So can you say a few words how this directly ties in? Because obviously it does.
Yes. perfect timing because I did just get the presentation pulled up and that is in there.
Oh, good. Thank you. I'm sorry. I should have waited.
That is a perfect setup. So let me see. Are you guys, the buttons are in the way. Okay, there we go. So this is the presentation, the overview. What is a vision plan? Why does it matter? How is it created? How do you use it? And so that's kind of the setup. And you can see right here in Connecticut, the vision plan is called the Plan of Conservation and Development. So they're the same thing. In other places, they go by different names. And if we're bringing in examples from other places where it's not called a POCD, we wanted to make sure that that was clear. But the purpose of the vision plan is that it is comprehensive, it's forward-looking, and it's aspirational. So we provide that definition in here, and we say that's what your POCD is meant to be. We talk a little bit about the statutory requirements for the POCD, and then we talk about key components in a vision plan, which is typically existing conditions, your goals and objectives, your implementation strategy, and your future land use map. We talk about how it is different from zoning, where basically the vision plan is the picture of where you want to be, and the zoning is the implementation tool for how you get there. And why having a vision plan matters. This one I think is very important. Land is a finite resource, so vision plans provide the means for balancing your competing private and public interests, protecting public investment, planning development in a way that protects valued resources, expressing citizens' collective vision for the future. And then it's a means of justifying decisions and prioritizing tasks as projects come up into the future, which should be very relevant as some of us are grappling with housing development projects that either are or are not coming into town. And so what we want folks to come away with is, how do you create your vision plan so that it's useful for your town? We have these 4 key steps, which are, where are we right now? That's your existing conditions. Where do we want to be? So you're engaging with the public to establish a clear future vision, which typically has a lot more participation and buy-in than you get for people coming out for individual projects. So you can have a better sense of what the collective municipality as a whole wants to see in the future. You have your implementation steps, really thinking through the how do we get to where we want to be from where we are now. And then how are we doing? A reflective check-in step between the time you adopt your plan and then the time you have to update or amend your plan in the 10 years into the future. How often are you going to periodically check in? How are you going to gauge what success looks like if you're making progress towards your goals and objectives? And then we have a practice where we created, because we thought it might be difficult, and yes, we did put a map here so I can close that, but a way to practice that is kind of disconnected from your own towns, because in the abstract, it's easier to have some of these conversations and maybe see things a little bit more clearly. So we created the fictional place of Anytown. This is the Anytown map. It's a temperate river valley with a population of 8,000 people. And then we walk through scenarios where we go through those steps. So we start with, where are we now for commercial core improvements? We talk about where we want to be, what the town of Anytown did to engage the public, the policies and goals that they created, and how they identified that area on the map and what does that mean. So now you know your goals and objectives for the commercial core are going to apply in the commercial core, which collectively everybody knows is right here where this purple circle is. Then we move on to, oh, sorry, no, we don't. Step 3, how do we get there? So the implementation goals and objectives, how are we doing? So what are they looking at to check in? And then we do a think about it question. So a pretend fictional development application comes in, which we explain. And then we ask, does the vision plan, or does this development project further the goals and objectives of the vision plan? how would you evaluate it? What additional information might you need? So it's a good way to practice and get them all talking about what it is that they're looking for when comparing a project to their vision plan. How should they be assessing and evaluating it? And I think, whether they agree or disagree with what they want to look at, having that conversation for a fictional project is easier than having it when a real project is in front of them. And then they'll have the tools they need when that real project is there, because they can hash out all of the disagreements about what you're thinking about ahead of time. And then, we do a different one, preservation of farmland, and it's the same setup. And then we have another pretend development project and we think about it. And same thing for promoting housing opportunity, which we end with. And I think this one is important. So the community identified a housing opportunity area. This is an area where job services and infrastructure are already located, and they place boundaries around those areas. And the little blurb, which is hard to see because they don't have it expanded, talks about how in these areas, higher density development should be prioritized in order to make the most effective use of the land. And presumably what would happen in any town is that the zoning regulations would be updated to allow the levels of density that they would like to see in order to enhance housing opportunity in these areas. And then they should be well practiced by the time we get to scenario 3. So we do another pretend project that comes in. And then we show them, this is the Anytown Vision Plan map, what it all looks like. You've got your 3 areas and they correlate to the commercial core goal, the agricultural goal, and the housing goal. They probably have more goals. We don't know. They're a made-up place. And then we go through some common pitfalls, what could go wrong, and we have conclusions and key takeaways that correlate to our assessment form, which I'm not sure if, oh my gosh, Zoom is really something today. Can you see the new screen that I just popped up? Okay, so we have this assessment form that you would also get that's hyperlinked in the lesson plan that everyone would have. What is the vision plan? How is it different from zoning? Why is it important to have? What are the key components? And what questions inform the creation of a vision plan? So everyone would fill these out at the end. You would go over the answers, have them correct it, and then that's their take home. And that's basically lesson 1. We would plan to replicate that format for our other topics, including visualizing different types of housing, which involves Legos right now. We're very excited about that one. And also one for public engagement, engaging the public, different ways to engage the public, and different techniques, as well as different ways to navigate tricky conversations. Should be highly interactive. So those are the other 2 that we're working on next. Any questions?
I do.
Yeah.
So the part that when you were evaluating
Mhm.
towards the end there, when you would have the people look at something and how do they think it fits in with the vision plan, i.e. the POCD, or that kind of thing. Some part of me feels like we're setting them up for disappointment if they think that the POCD somehow can make certain things happen, or that, ultimately it depends on zoning and your zoning regs, and stuff may not be in your zoning regs, but when you're saying what questions do we ask or how does it fit in, but ultimately it's more important to ask those questions as long as it's going to inform the zoning regs, with them
Right.
understanding that all of those things now have to get into this document over here, or it doesn't matter.
Yes,
Yeah.
completely agree. I think that is part of the presentation in the earlier part that I kind of skimmed through, but talking about how the plan and the zoning regulations are different, but that the zoning regulations should then be consistent with the plan. So when you're looking at, the goals of any town, they come up with the goals, they identify the area, and then one of their implementation steps, the first implementation step is review your zoning regulations to ensure that it's consistent with the goals of the plan.
Right, but, and that one gets overlooked all the time, but
Yes.
if you're doing that one step,
Mhm.
I can't, I'd have to go look at your thing again, but where you're asking them to evaluate, I think in that section itself,
Mhm.
you might have them, come up with, or where are the areas that our regulations are lacking,
Yeah.
or what types of, to put it right in there. So when you get to the implementation or your specific goals or actions, you can say, adopt a regulation for blah, 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 adopt, not just review your regs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a great suggestion.
Built into that eval process right there.
Yeah, and I think it's, Eliza and I have talked about this as well, where it's different for towns that have a planning and zoning versus a planning and a zoning commission. Because, for example, if you have a planning only, then their only review is this project consistent with the POCD or not?
How many ones in our region are separate?
I actually don't know the answer to that.
It's
You know?
It's pretty uncommon now, isn't it?
shoreline towns. I don't know about Middletown, Mark.
European Z, right?
We have planning and zoning commission. One board.
Like one, okay. I think most are one.
Is
Right.
anyone on the call have separate
Yes,
board?
Old
Westbrook.
Saybrook.
Westbrook?
Old Lyme separate when I worked there.
Really?
Westbrook's, Old Saybrook, Old Lyme.
Maybe
Yeah.
Clinton.
I'm not sure about Clinton. I'm not
No,
sure.
Eric would know the answer to that, so it must not be Clinton.
I mean, I still think it's important to, during that evaluation process, to be specifically thinking about, necessary regulations.
Absolutely. I think that's something that we want to drive home in the presentation, is that the plan is not worth anything unless it's implemented, and a good part of that implementation comes from the zoning regulations.
Right. Otherwise, you'd have to do that whole exercise again
Mhm.
from the zoning perspective.
Mhm.
Way.
Okay,
And
other
maybe that's-
questions?
We
Anybody?
have an ask, which is, we want to do a run through of the whole thing, which will take between 1.5 to 2 hours of your time, because I'm assuming there will be hiccups in the first time we run it through, and we'll find things that don't actually work when we do it live. So we would be looking for some volunteers to be willing to commit that time to us, who are very interested in the lesson plan and having an additional say in what's in there. I'm looking at Juliet because I think you would be a wonderful person to have on there.
Why don't you do it with my POCD steering committee, pretend that's the group.
I'm on board to be on that. I mean,
All
that
right.
ensures that we get to be part of the training for the next iterations, right?
Yeah.
Because we're really looking at you for some, like I said, we just did this with our POCD forms of this,
Mhm.
but I think there's some overlap that we could really use, and then we're definitely going to need the education when that comes.
Absolutely.
I'm also
Great.
interested, just because we're updating our POCD as well, and I think that you have a lot of really great exercises in there that we could use as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm definitely receiving that for the visioning session.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I wish we
love
would have
it.
called ours a vision plan, because we had to have 3 meetings at town hall. But people did show up, like, what's going on? Anyway, it just makes it so much clearer to people than having to break it down from POCD into, okay.
POCD, when you do that, sounds like an illness, doesn't it? When you abbreviate. I have POCD.
Well,
Mix up a few of the letters and yeah, it is.
I had a commission member that used to call it the COPD. He was older. I was like, Bill, it's not COPD, it's POCD.
The problem with our community, and I'm sure with many, when we get people together, they see it as a concrete plan, and they don't understand that that's our opportunity to look at things, not just what we can do today, but what we could possibly do tomorrow, so that we go in the direction. And And it's like a brick wall to explain that to some people, unfortunately. I'm sure everybody else who runs into that, at least with parts of their community.
Yes, I would agree. Well, and I like the scenario component of it. I just feel like I definitely agree with what Juliet was saying, where I could see my commission getting stuck with that, even just coming up with a scenario, because I think the goal would be to come to a yes, but
Mhm.
how to get to that yes. I think everyone would have an opinion how to get there. And then, like you say, it's like, but our zoning regulations don't even allow for it, or there's so many different versions of whatever application that could come in where you could have trip ups.
Mhm. And that's good too, because in there's a script, I didn't even show it, but there is a script that goes with all of the slides. And in there are some notes for facilitators too. Like you might get questions like this, and here's a good way to segue. So those kinds of things we can add into that as well. What happens if your commissioners can't agree, or they're stuck, or they're trying to get to a yes? How do you pivot from that?
So there were some things in HB 5003 that were going to be mandatory in our vision plans, such as, setting out where housing opportunities are. And
Mhm.
although that was vetoed, I don't have a crystal ball, but we're thinking a lot of those things are going to come back in some way or shape or form, maybe as early as September, maybe, just maybe over the next year.
Mhm.
Are you kind of planning on rolling some, you obviously mentioned the housing opportunity big, and that's one of them. Are you
Yeah.
leaning into some of those line items that were kind of put on ice?
I think a lot of the stuff that was in there is very similar to stuff that we're already doing.
Oh,
I
yes.
think,
Yeah.
so I think we're just going to continue doing, we're going to continue doing all the things that we're already doing. And I think a lot of them will end up overlapping at the end of the day. If something like that comes back, we'll roll with the punches. We'll roll it in. But I think going through these exercises, and if we're already identifying housing opportunity areas, it's just going to put us ahead of the game.
Oh, for sure. I want to mention the group too, that Ben Lovejoy isn't here, but I know he's worked with a couple of the close towns near us to help us with assistance with our housing. And we did get approved for a grant. I mean, it's taken a couple months. They started helping us with this many months ago, and it looks like we're going to have it. And that's what we're going to focus on: identification of not just, oh, we think this could be or that, feasibility. And that's going to be such a leap forward. Even if we don't find anything, it's a leap forward to show that we've done all the due diligence to try to suss out some land. And I think tied to this vision plan, that's where we might, even though we've done some of this, we might be bringing you in to explain to people as we find these things, or as we're identifying these things, this is why and how, and the bigger picture. It's not necessarily tied directly to what's going to happen next with our housing authority.
Absolutely.
Megan, I want to go back. Do you have the names of everybody who said they would be part of it, or do you want us to put it in the chat? I would be interested as well. You can put my name down, but
Put it in the chat, please, because my phone started ringing and I wrote down Daniel. And Kara, Carla, I saw you had your hand up. I don't know if you were volunteering or if you had a
I was just curious when you're thinking of scheduling it, because we are hiring a new person and this would be a really good training opportunity for them too.
Sure.
To listen in. So I was just
Do you
curious.
have that person starting, or you're still
No, we're in we've got finalists identified. So that's why I was thinking if it's going to be in 3 weeks, that would work. But if it's going to be next week, probably wouldn't work. So
I think
3 weeks is probably
three.
Okay. Okay. So I would say just put me down and I might forward it to that. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm interested. I am away for 10 days at the end of September, but if that makes a difference. And if I could drag some of my steering committee members with me, that would be, I'm going to try to do that so that they understand what it is.
Yes, and we do have some wonderful outside partners that we've already talked to about volunteering for this as well. So we're very lucky that a few of them have said yes, although we haven't gotten any details down. So just so everybody knows.
Don't worry, Caitlin, we're probably going to be asking some of the other cogs to come play too.
I wondered as much. I think we'd be interested in just even the framework in general that you're working on would be applicable for a variety of topics, as you said. So
yes, and we're hoping to widely share that for everyone to use. Yeah. Pat, if I could, I noticed that we did skip over the website map, and I just wanted Kevin to pull that up really
Yeah,
quick. If we're
sure.
done talking about this, I'm not sure.
Sorry, I was really excited.
Go ahead, Eliza. Hold on.
Okay, so Kevin is going to pull up, this is one of the very foundational tasks of our Shared Foundations grant. So this is the website that we're going to be front facing, and we will be sending this out to you shortly. It's not completely edited and ready for prime time yet. We're still working on it, but we just wanted to show everybody what this is going to look like. So you'll see there's going to be clickable spots for the education and training. So that's where the modules will live, and the lesson plans and all the things that we are still working on. The engagement videos, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. There's going to be fact sheets that are, printable, downloadable, hopefully trying to keep them to one page about affordable housing and topics surrounding that. And then additional resources will be links to our partner websites and other information that doesn't fall into those 3 categories. So we wanted to show you that. And then this is really hard to see, I apologize, but this is the website map that we first created before Kevin made that beautiful, and Ella made that beautiful website for us. And the reason that we're showing it, to be frank, is that it was one of the tasks in our grant. So we said we were going to show it to you. So here it is. But this is the background framework of how we came up with what that website was going to look like. Again, it's really small, sorry, but we have ideas in there. Does anyone have, or Kevin, do you want to say anything about this? I can't see if you're talking and you're muted, or if you're just
No,
not.
I'm muted.
Okay.
That darn video controls are in the way of the screen, and I hid them, and then I couldn't unmute myself. So I'm having all sorts of fun. But yeah, no, I think that was great. Like Eliza said, the website is still in its infancy, but again, a shout out to Ella for a lot of the artwork. I am not anywhere as near as artistically inclined, so I'm very glad that she was on board while we were building this. And then James also helped out with the programming side because he's Wix capable. But this is also a sneak peek. This is probably the first time we've revealed the top menu for the new RiverCog website. That's also in the works in the background. But we're hoping to roll out both of those projects roughly at the same time.
Can you scroll down a little bit, Eliza? For those who can't remember, myself included, just quickly, what are the modules again for education and training? The 4 modules?
Oh, the topics.
Yeah.
So the one that Megan just ran through, which is the visioning. I just was looking at these. We're doing
Visualizing different types of housing.
yeah,
And it was public
engagement,
public
public education and engagement, and then
What
the
was the
4th
other
one was
one?
navigating difficult decisions.
Yes,
around,
we split them. Yeah, I think
navigating
that's right.
difficult conversations around affordable housing.
Yeah, I think
So
that's
how
right.
does the POCD presentation fit into this? I guess I'm not clear on that.
So that part is the vision plan, and we go through in the presentation all of the places where you would engage with the public. And so then the next one would be, here are different types of engagement, and kind of how to make sure that you're getting a broad base of public perspective. And even though, we can use housing, and we will use housing as the backdrop for how we're setting that up, but really it can be applied to anything, any topic that you're trying to get engagement in. But the idea being that we've been very reactionary in the housing conversation. So this is a way at the outset when you're doing your vision plan to, in advance, have a conversation and make sure that you're tapping into not just the people that show up all the time when there's a project, but everybody in your community, and that you're getting a broad base of representation. with the visualizing different types of housing. I gave the example in the previous presentation and I've stuck with it because the numbers are easy to math for me. But the 24 units on 3 acres, so that's where we were talking about using Legos as a tool to show you can have that as one 24-unit building. You could have 12 duplexes, you could have 3 8-unit buildings and what that looks like. So helping visualize what does an acre actually look like, because it's quite big, and how do your regulations like your setbacks, your lot coverage, your height, how do all of those regulations in your zoning interplay with the different ways that these 24 units could lay out on a site. So it's a bit of visualizing housing and housing typologies and how you can make it fit. And it's also a bit of zoning regulation review because all of these things, while not directly density related, do impact the density.
Thank you.
I'm definitely using Legos. That's a great idea.
Yeah, love it.
My 4-year-old was my inspiration.
Well, also MIT does a
Amazon.
similar thing, so.
Yeah, so I looked up, I looked into, because I was thinking somebody has to have done this at some point. So I Googled it to see if there was anything I could build on, with the pun completely intended. And I saw that MIT had a program that's way cooler than what we're doing because they actually code the bottom of the Legos and they have a special grid. And when you plug the Legos into the grid, it projects the buildings onto a screen.
Oh, how do we get that?
Very cool, right?
It's even better. Oh,
I'll reach out. I'll see what I can do.
please.
So again, you just ran us through the first lesson plan. The other 3 are, what's the timelines for those?
Do you have
Well,
the timeline up?
yeah, well, I mean, we'll be done, they'll be completed by June of next year.
Completed. But that doesn't mean we can't start running the ones that we have. So we don't have to wait for them all to be completed before we start running them.
Are you going to develop them in the order you just listed for us, or?
Is there a preference for us to start with a different one next?
No.
Well, we kind of did start with this second one, right?
We started with the Legos only because I was very enthusiastic about that. But we also have a start on the public education one. So if there was a need for us to pivot to doing that one first for a particular reason, we could.
Yeah, I know I vote for that one, but
Okay.
I don't know what other people in the group feel about the order, the priority. Anyone else? And again, you don't have to do it just because I said, but I know for us, that's something we're definitely interested in.
If that would be helpful, we can do that one first. I will survive. But Legos will still
No
be there.
Legos. You can build Legos into it.
We still need to develop our scale for the Legos, so we can put the math on the back burner at least for a little bit.
Literally looking at Facebook Marketplace for cheap Legos.
Oh, you don't even need to go there. I have a 15 and 17-year-old who used to play with Legos. I think we're gonna mine my basement.
We're thinking we'll put kits together, so we'll have the list of all of the pieces that you'll need, but then we'll bag them so that everyone can have, we'll have a drop-off thing where if we're doing one, if a town wants to do it, they can come pick up the box of bagged Legos so that they can do the exercise.
Perfect.
Cool. All right. Are you gonna share any of the videos with us, or is that not?
Yes.
I know
Yeah.
that's
for last.
Some of you may remember that we are creating public education videos as well. And these are short form videos that are intended for social media. They are we think a little bit different than what's already out there, which is like a video of a meeting or something that's 20 minutes long. These are all 3 minutes and under. So we wanted to show them to you before Ella and James leave us, and James is going to do that. But I do want to preface by saying we're showing you all the videos like together in a row, but that's not how they're going to be presented. They're meant for like one-offs on social media. And also we have watched them a few times internally, and I think every time we watch them, we keep finding like a little thing that we want to tweak. So there are a couple things that we've noticed that we would like to change that are in these videos. You may or may not notice them, but they're not like final at this point. And also Ella and James have a couple other videos that they're working on, but they're not included here because they're not ready for consumption yet. So there's more to come. And James, I know I think you were planning on sharing. I don't know if you have anything you want to say or if you just want to go for it.
Yeah, I can go ahead and show them. Good to see everyone again, by the way. I just want to say thank you to the RiverCog team. They're really great. Ella and I had a great summer there. And making these videos was a lot of fun. And hopefully it'll help everybody. So I will share my screen. I have the world's slowest laptop, so if you can't hear me, let me know, and Ella has it up as a backup just in case. So let me know if you guys can't hear or see anything. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. It's just over 10 minutes, pretty short. So there's 4 videos. Let me make this full screen. Okay, someone, yeah, just say something if you guys can't hear anything, but I will play it.
No sound.
Yeah, no
Ever
sound.
wondered why the abandoned building can't be turned into. Is it good now? Shop?
I can hear it now.
Yeah.
Or why your neighborhood doesn't have a sidewalk? Did you know that these kinds of decisions are made by the same few people who may not think like you? These people are involved, and you could be too. It doesn't have to be this way, and it's easier than you think. It all starts on your town's website, where all committees and commissions are found. The Planning and Zoning Commission helps guide what does or does not get built in your community. To influence these kinds of decisions, you need to be involved in your planning and zoning meetings. You can attend meetings and give comments or have a seat on the board. The schedule of this committee is public and people are encouraged to attend meetings. That means you. Meetings are frequent and offered in person in your community, usually with a virtual option. Contribution is not required. You could just listen in. However, if you have something to say it. Speak at a meeting, introduce yourself, state how the issue is relevant to you, and be respectful. Whatever's on your mind, the committee wants to hear. If you love or hate a project, let them know. All you have to do is show up, because if you don't speak up, someone else will. Still unsure about how to contribute? You can contact your land use administrator or staff on your town's website. No question is too small. Have you ever been scrolling through the web and seen a headline that alarms you? Oh, all the time. Like this one. It says there's new affordable housing coming near me. Do you have concerns about affordable housing? Yes. Want to learn more? No. I don't want affordable housing in my neighborhood. It's going to cost me money. It's going to cost the town money. It's a handout. What about my property value?
Whoa, slow down.
Who is that?
I'm Alice. I represent those of us that are asset limited, income constrained, but employed. It sounds like you have some concerns. Let's address them together.
What is going on?
I heard you say that affordable housing is going to drive down your property value. Is that true? Let's see. I did some research. It says that affordable housing won't lower property value. And in some situations, it might raise values in the neighborhood. For example, it boosts workforce stability and local spending, which strengthens communities and demand for housing. Seems like this myth is busted.
Okay, sure. Maybe it strengthens the community, but affordable housing still seems like a handout.
You mentioned a good point. Is affordable housing just a handout? To figure this one out, let's look into who needs affordable housing. Affordable housing is commonly needed by essential workers, senior citizens, and young families. You know, teachers, first responders, care providers, and even shopkeepers who work on Main Street. These people often struggle to live near their jobs.
Okay, maybe it's not a handout, it's more of a lifeline.
Definitely another myth busted. Looks like we made some progress.
Yeah, that's great and all, but something's still unclear to me. How do taxes play a role in affordable housing? Am I paying for it? Is the town?
I'm glad you asked.
What?
Let's dive in. Okay, I asked the town, and it turns out most affordable housing is funded by private developers as part of their project financing, not your tax dollars.
Wait, so you're telling me I'm not paying for it?
Nope. In fact, it can save money by boosting the local tax base. More housing equals more people shopping locally, and less per capita spending on services. In many cases, it's net positive for taxpayers because it strengthens the local economy. Say it with me, everybody. Myth busted!
Myth busted. All right, thanks for the lesson, Alice. I actually learned a lot. Maybe affordable housing is a good thing after all. Oh, hey, Alice. Great to see you. Have you seen this place? It's incredible. I just retired and guess what? I'm moving in.
That's awesome. I'm so glad this place is here when you needed it.
Me too. And I still remember what we talked about, and I'm making sure everyone I know understands the benefits of affordable housing.
Great. Sounds like you'll be needing this.
Do you think you know about affordable housing? Do you wish you knew how affordable housing could look in your neighborhood? Let's take a look and see if you can spot which houses are affordable. It's time to play. The price is livable, right? Let's get right into it. Here are the first housing options. Only one of these two is affordable. Can you guess which one? Both of these complexes are pretty similar.
I think it's option 1.
You are correct. Let's move into round 2. Which of these two options do you think is affordable housing? Is it option 1 or option 2? It's option 2. I know it's option 2. I'm sorry, you are incorrect. The correct answer was Wharfside Commons. Located in Middletown, its location is desirable and affordable. All right, folks. Final round. It all comes down to this. Roll the footage. We have option 1. And we have option 2. Contestants, please prepare your answers.
Is it option 2?
You are right. Congratulations. You've won.
A car? A house?
No, a better understanding of affordable housing. Don't interrupt me. Let's get right into it. I want to take some time to show off all of these beautiful homes. While that was a lot of fun, affordable housing is important in a lot of people's lives. The point of the game is to show how affordable housing comes in all styles and sizes. Speaking of which, here's a bonus round. Can you guess which one of these houses is affordable? It's actually a trick question. We don't even know. But 1 in every 6 of these homes is affordable, and we can't even tell the difference. These examples show us the different types of affordable housing that may even be in your neighborhood. They range from apartment-style complexes to single-family homes that blend in with any community, designed to support people and families in need. Thanks for playing The Price is Livable, right? I hope you learned a lot. Tune in next week for our quarterly check-in. Let's see what you've learned. Oh my gosh, I was almost late to work again. My commute is way too long. I need to start planning our episode for next week. We have so much information on affordable housing. How can we make sure our viewers are even understanding it? I don't know what to do. Hey, need some help? I think I have an idea to make sure your viewers are really taking in the information you're giving them. A refresher can only help, and you know what? I think I need one too. Great idea, but what's the incentive? Well, after I moved into affordable housing, my daughter wanted to do the same. She got a job as a teacher in town. She's in market rate housing, but can't commute to work. She's having trouble finding anything available. What if we built new affordable housing? I know just how we can do it. Let's get started. This is such a great idea. Wait a minute, we have no contestants. Who's gonna play? Wait, what about you? Do you want to play? Okay, awesome. You need to get 3 questions right, otherwise the old guy's daughter remains in market rate housing. Can you imagine it? Let's help her out. Let's get right into it, starting with round 1, getting involved. Everyone welcome our special guest from episode 1.
Thank you, host. Happy to be here. I have the first question ready. How do you get in contact with your land use coordinator? By leaving a note at the public library's front desk, on your town's website under the Planning and Zoning Commission, by calling emergency services and asking for zoning support. Okay, what's your answer? Correct! Let's build that home. Alice, we need you for round 2. Okay, I'll be right there. Hi, everyone. Aw, stop. Let's get to round 2. The question is, are your tax dollars used to build affordable housing? True or false? Wrong. Don't worry. You still have 2 more chances. Let's move on to question 3. Who is affordable housing commonly needed by? Correct! I'm impressed you're so good at this. Let's fix that window. I think I need to stay here to make sure this building is well built. Back to you.
Thanks, Alice. This is the final question, everyone. Remember what's at stake. Which of these building types can be affordable housing? Is it duplex and triplexes? Multi-family complexes? Or walk-ups over retail? I know this one. All 3 are correct. Build that home. I can't thank you enough for all your help. You really know your stuff when it comes to the many faces of affordable housing. Thanks for joining us. It was great to see what you learned, and I hope it was fun. Continue to tune in to learn even more.
So that's it. Thanks for watching.
Hey,
And
that
thank
was
you.
awesome.
Very cute. Thank you.
Those are great.
Huge thank you
Nice.
to both Ella and James. We had such a good summer with them, and I personally was like very impressed with how creative they were and how much they learned, and also like how much they showed us about what they did. Not that I still understand it at all, but
We had great teachers, and I didn't know what this would look like coming into it. But I feel like I learned a lot, and we had a really great team. Definitely.
I will second what Eliza said. We loved working with James and Ella. James said he didn't know what this was going to look like. We didn't know what this was going to look like either. So it really was a collaborative effort. And I think one of the really important things that James and Ella brought to the table that we wouldn't have known is what would get people's attention, what would be engaging, what would stick with people, and what would be fun, because there are a lot of videos out there right now that talk about housing. And a lot of them, like Eliza was saying, are very like direct to camera and really targeted towards people who are already interested in this information. I don't know who else is going to watch them. So we were kind of taking the social media sneak attack approach of people stumbling across this and finding it interesting in their algorithm. And I think they've done a really excellent job of making it fun and light for a topic that is typically very contentious and heavy. So I appreciate them. They will be truly missed.
for sure. I see Carla has her hand up, Pat. I don't know if you can see that.
No, I can't.
I just lowered it when Eliza pointed it out. But so those are amazing. And I thought they really hit the target that you described, Megan, in terms of trying to like make them a little bit more engaging, like grab some attention, not so dry and necessarily academic. The one question I did want to ask, because I'd be a little bit nervous about these being released publicly, is about the claim about no public money, and sort of curious like what the basis was for that.
Yes, so that is the thing that we identified. One of the things that we identified that we
Okay.
need to change.
All right. Because I was just, when I saw it, I was like, oh, I don't think they want to make that claim publicly. So
Yeah, and I think really what we're trying to get at is like the concern that people have that if affordable housing is built in their neighborhood, their taxes are going to go up.
Sure.
So we need to just kind of retool that wording a little bit.
Right. Yeah. I would say just because as the developer that developed 2 of the 6 places you featured in the video, public money is actually probably critical in every single development that has affordable housing, even if it is mostly market rate. And the state's, pushing out new programming every day to like expand the number of projects that have some eligibility for public money. So just want to make sure, anything that's getting out there is not going to make people upset. So
Yeah, no, for sure. We're aware of that one. We've had a couple conversations about it just today, Megan and I.
But overall, they really are like very, very good. I didn't mean to be, I don't want to.
No,
that one thing, they really are very, very good.
Thank you. And we really appreciate it because it's, how it is when you like work on something over and over and you keep like seeing the same thing. Like it's so helpful to have other sets of eyes.
I didn't really take it that way. I thought the guy was upset because he thought like the town was paying for it. Like town money is going into it, but the public monies, grants and things like that.
Sure. The one thing I will say though is that just from our perspective, when you're doing an all affordable deal, you really can't make the math work without some sort of local property tax concession as well. And so I would, as a developer, be nervous about anybody making the claim that we wouldn't need some sort of tax support in order to make this type of housing work in 2025, right? So if we get more shovels in the dirt generally, and we get activity up to a different level, we might not need those tax incentives anymore, but still today we need them. So that's where I was kind of coming from our perspective on it.
And I think if I could add too, so the paper that Alice magically gives to the grumpy old man in the second video is meant to have a link on it, and the link will be down below to our fact sheets. So one of the things that we grappled with in making these videos short and kind of pithy is how much information how much clarity to provide. And we want to be accurate, of course. So, talking about changing the public money statement, yes, definitely. But we will have more detail in the fact sheets for each of the videos. Our receipts, so to speak, for all of the claims that we're making will be linked below for people who are interested. But then we also have the quick sound bites in the video for people who don't want to do the extra information. But we do want to make sure that those sound bites are correct.
You give tax breaks for commercial development too. So I think it's maybe just say, yes, there could be, clarify that there could be a tax incentive, but that is common for other things too.
Yeah.
Not like the town is building it and paying for it all and your taxes are going up because of it. It's a common thing to facilitate a type of development that they feel will be overall tax positive.
And that's what we were definitely intending when we put it in there. But then we just realized, actually, I showed it to my husband and he was like, wait. And he was telling me his understanding. And that was the first time I said to Eliza, okay, so I think that could be taken not the way that we meant it. And then once you hear it, you start to see it on rewatches. So that's why we do this.
Eliza, you said in the chat, we'll share them when they are ready for release into the wild. Again, is there any expectation when that might be, and will they be rolled out separately when they're ready, or all four at once? What's the plan for that?
Definitely separately. We have talked about creating a shared foundations social media channel of some sort, probably I hate to even say it, but TikTok, like that none of us know how to use that are currently employed by Rivercog. We will have, separate from the Rivercog social media platforms, we're probably going to create one that's just for the Shared Foundations program. So like these videos and other things that we found and other things that we're still trying to pull together. So my response in the chat, which I don't know if you could see, was in answer to Carrie, who asked if we could share them so that she could share them with her PZ and PZC. And so I was like, once they're ready, we will definitely share them for all you guys. And once we have the platform that we want for social media set up and ready to go, I will be sending it to all of you and asking you to please follow it. And you can share from there. I mean, that's really what they're intended for as well. And then some of these that are topical may be part of the media package for the training modules that we're creating.
And the goal would be, so we had 3 categories of videos and then 1 check-in. So the goal would be that they would be a series in each category with a check-in at the end of each. How we will manage that without Ella and James, I don't know. We're working on ways to keep them forever. We'll get Ella from Spain.
Yeah. Bill, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, I have no idea how to do this, but if there's any way to get a focus group of people that don't know how to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission, don't really know much about, the vast people that may be out there that don't know much. If you could, do a couple focus groups of three or four each of them and say, what's your reaction to this? Again, I have no idea how to find them, but
I think James and Ella might have done a little bit of that in there and might be some of those people as well, right, you guys?
Yeah, definitely. There were I always talk about, I would show this to my mom and to my friends and like people who really didn't know what. I mean, and it was also helpful for Ella and I because we weren't that knowledgeable on the topics before we made the videos. So it was helpful to show to people like our age as well who could give us. I was actually saying my mom this weekend was actually talking about her friend who works in affordable housing somewhere else, and was telling my mom that she should get involved. And my mom was like, well, actually, I don't really know how to get involved. I was like, I got just the video for you. So yeah.
Yeah, in our line of work, I think it's hard to find people who don't know that kind of stuff, right? So it is just because like most of the people we deal with already know.
We assume everybody knows this, but we're just a bunch of nerds. So.
And I think that's the idea behind that initial getting involved video and behind, the initial lesson 1 is it's foundational. And so that's built up until we can elevate the conversation to housing, which is so much, you all know, it's so nuanced,
All right. Well, we can see a lot of work has been done here, a lot of great work, and thanks to you guys for that. Are there any other questions or comments? I assume if anybody has specific things that jumped out at them, they can just reach out to you directly after the meeting.
Please do.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready to move on then? All right. Upcoming meetings.
Yes, September meeting is going to be the 23rd, and that's going to be an in-person meeting in our office in Essex, and we're going to share that meeting with the EDC folks. And Susie, you know what's happening that meeting more than I do.
We're going to have a presentation on brownfields and brownfield redevelopment. It's really a brownfields 101, just to give us again a foundation, to use that term again, on brownfields, to get everyone up to speed so that we're all talking about the same, using the same terminology and understanding what a brownfield is and where they are. Dale Croup, who's a well-respected economic development professional in Connecticut, will be providing that presentation for us.
Excellent. Okay. Is that the only meeting you wanted to cover, or do you know anything beyond that, or that we should be aware of or put in our calendars?
I'm just looking at my little schedule here. I think we talked about December also being in person. Yay, nay, Megan, Pat?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so that's
Quarterly.
all I got for you on the next
Okay.
meetings. More to come.
All right, excellent, thank you. Other. I don't know if anybody has anything they want to share about their towns. I would actually like to follow up. Daniel, you had mentioned, House Bill 5002 that was vetoed. Do you guys have any update? I mean, I only see what's been in the media. It looks like there's going to be a special session. I see that some of the housing groups are dissing the governor. But anything else? Does anyone have any insight on that or something they can share with the group?
I
can go ahead, Eliza, if you want.
Sure.
Hi,
can
Sam.
I just put in like one quick promo for this? And that's the media noise. Like, just try not to listen to that because nobody really knows. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, and I think that's good advice, especially with this. Like, there was an article in the Connecticut Mirror earlier in the week about a proposal from Connecticut Association of COGS and a discussion with CCM, the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, and the Council of Small Towns cost. This was a meeting that was between the two executive boards of CCM cost and two of the COG directors to talk about, ideas for what they would potentially support coming from the perspective of the municipalities. CCM cost and the COGs all work for the same people, which are 169 chief CEOs of each of the towns. But it is far from a proposal that is approved by anyone or endorsed by anyone. And it got leaked to Ginny Monk over at the Mirror, and she made a story of it, but there really isn't much there yet. As for when the special session may be, I haven't heard any dates yet, but I have a feeling that if it doesn't happen, in September, maybe they might wait till February. But we will see. But in general, what's being discussed, at least with the COGs and CCM and cost, is an idea of taking from our example here at RiverCog, approaching housing planning on a regional level and working cooperatively with towns and allowing for regional housing needs assessments and to be taking this regional approach as opposed to a statewide top-down approach. In House Bill 5002, there was some work that was specified and funding that was specified for specific tasks. I think we would be supportive of that. And specifically, they had $200,000 going towards housing for each COG, and then another $200,000 for work on solid waste and stormwater management. And so it would be a total of $400,000 per COG coming out of existing state funds from the Regional Services Performance Incentive Account. But of course, we don't know what may happen with the governor calling a session and what might actually be be up for debate and votes in that session. But I think there's discussions going on, but we're very far from anything that's official or endorsed by anyone. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
And I don't know. Oh, and one thing that I thought was one thing that I think that's really lacking in some of these public debates is an understanding of the topics we're talking about. For example, there was discussion about accountability, and I think we would be remiss if we don't look to other states who are farther along in housing planning than Connecticut as to how they do accountability for these types of things, and it's generally something akin to 830G, where the developer does not have to follow zoning that's not in conformity with housing plans. That's how and can get permission to build around zoning. That is usually the remedy, because the issue that we're concerned about is building housing. I think the idea of suing towns for punitive damages doesn't actually directly address the issue of actually building housing. And that's one thing that I think really concerns CCM and cost, is opening up the towns for legal exposures, and not really directly addressing housing. So that is, but beyond that, there's not much to report as to what's going to happen and what's going to actually be up before the General Assembly to discuss. So thank you, Trey.
Thank you, Sam, for the update. All right, anyone else have anything for the good of the group? Okay, hearing none then, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. James and Ella, thank you on behalf of all of us, and good luck to you. Be good. We'll see you soon. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank all of you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Pat.